Okay, so here we're going to look at the dovetail joint on the bottom of the vanity table box. So it opens out, we have our two separate pieces like this, and they will both slot in together like that. Alright, with the vanity table, the base of it, there is a longer piece here, there's a shorter piece there, and we have just the two pieces going together down here as well. So we'll focus in for the moment. We're marking out the long piece, so it'll be the male part of the dovetail joint. So we're going to mark the dovetails on this side and this side here. We can see that the full length of the piece required is 370 millimeters. So we'll start there. As always, at the start of a piece, we'll mark our face side, our face edge, and we'll put our name on the piece also. I'll mark in my 10 millimeters for waist. Mark that. My tri-square on the face edge, nice and tight. Draw my line across. Mark my waist there. Now, as we said, the piece is 370 millimeters long, so I'll put my ruler on that line there, the waist line. I'll mark 300 here with a dot, and I'll add on another 70. And that is going to give me my 370. I can then square that line all the way around. As always, I'll make sure to keep my tri-square tight to the edge. Also, the stock of my tri-square on either the face side or the face edge. Just mark our waist. And that will be the starting point for that. Now, next thing I want to mark is the length or the size of those dovetails. We can see there we come in 20 millimeters. So we'll mark that in next. That's going to happen on both ends of the piece. So I'm going to put my ruler on the waistline and mark in 10 millimeters. Try to square my line all the way around. Just do it on the end over here as well, but for the sake of this video, even though there's dovetails on both ends of the piece, I am going to just mark and cut the dovetails on one end. That is what it looks like on both ends for the moment. Okay, so I'm going to go over to this end here. I'm going to look at my plans, and I can see there now along here I've got a number of measurements. I want to find along here this point, this point, this point and this point. So from the bottom I'm going to go 10, marker dot, 15, marker dot, 20 and 15 as well. And the line that I'm doing that on is this line here. So from the face edge, I'm going to set my ruler here, be as accurate as I can. I'm going to put a dot on 10, sorry, it's a mistake there, 10, there, then 15, then 20, and then 15. Alright, so 10, 15, 20, and 15. That is going to be the starting point for the angle line that I'm going to draw on my dovetail, and we're then going to use sliding bevel to mark that. The slope of each of these dovetails, if we look at our plans, it tells us the dovetails are at a slope of 1:6. I have a number of templates set at a 1:6 slope. So you get your sliding bevel, I've got this preset already, put it in the vise if you need to, set up that angle in such a way that your sliding bevel has marking a 1:6 slope here. So then I'll put the piece into the vise, alright, so put the piece into the vise like so, And I can now, for each of those, hold my sliding bevel tight down on the top like you're using a tri-square. Draw a line up that way. Draw a line up that way. Here. And here. Okay. Once we get to the top of that, I am then going to tri-square those lines across, accurately as we can. Across the top, and the same thing on the other side. So I am then going to mark those down. So from this point, we're going down there, from there, this point, we're going down there, and there. That then will give us the dovetails fully marked out on that side. On this particular piece, our waist is on the outside part, so this is the male part of the dovetail. And that is obviously done exactly the same over on this side, and that will have you this piece fully marked out. Okay, so going on to the other part, the female part of the dovetail joint, we have the male part, the long piece, so this obviously is marked on the other side as well. We now need to mark out the other part of the dovetail joint, so it will be this one here that we're working on. Very similar process, except in this case, the angles that we marked with the sliding bevel are actually going to go along the end grain, so that will slot down into place like so. So we look at our plans there. First of all, we can see it's to be 150 millimeters long. So as always, face side, face edge, and name. And we are going to get our steel ruler, measure in 10 mil for waist, try square my line across, and we'll go 150 millimeters across there. Try square my line up there, we'll square those lines all the way around. So we'll mark our waist on that. And here also. Now we then need to measure in 20 millimeters there, and our 20 millimeters on the other side. And then that is from, by the way, the waistline. And we're going to square those two lines all the way around the piece also. And there. From that point, with this one, we had to measure our 15, our 10, 15, 20, 15 along that line. In this case, we're going to measure our 10, 15, 20, 15 along the top edge of the piece, whereby we're going to set up our dovetail joints. Alright, so I'm going to put the piece into the vise. We'll look at those plans, those in the plans by the way. You can see that on the end of the piece we have our 10, 15, 20, 15, and we can go off at our angle there. So, I'm going to get my ruler. I'm going to mark 10, 15, 20, and 15 there. So I have those dots marked. We have our sliding bevel set from when we were doing the last piece, and we're going to bring those lines out the way in order to get what we're looking for. There. Make sure to keep that sliding bevel tight against the edge of the piece. Alright, so that's going to give us those pieces, and that's going to allow us the dovetails to slot down in like so. All we have to do then is actually get our tri-square and mark or square those lines or draw those lines straight down. There. And the same straight down there. Making sure always keep that tri-square tight against the top to make sure that's going to work properly. And then we can see our waist is going to be these middle parts that we're going to be cutting out. And now we have the full dovetail. Once our dovetail is marked out, the male part and the female part. So just like as we said, male part, female part, and they're going to slot in place like so. Okay? Okay, so we'll just go on to the cutting out of the dovetail joint with the male part marked out here, female part marked out there. We're then going to go on and start cutting those out. So the main tools that we're going to need are a chuck, we'll need our tenon saw, and we'll also need a coping saw. Alright, so as always we want to try and stick to the correct sequence, so we'll make our vertical cuts first. So I'm going to set this up, bring this down here, and try and set it up in such a way that you have these angle lines perpendicular to the table. Alright, so you haven't set up in such a way there. I'll get my tenon saw to make those cuts. I might adjust that a little bit more. So we want that going straight down, and we will work our way down. Stop and check the line on the other side. Stop and check again. Make sure that we don't go past the line. I'll now make the saw cut on this line here. Stop and check. And make sure we don't go past the line there. Turn it around. Set it up again in such a way that these two lines are fairly perpendicular, using your own judgment. So we're sawing straight down with the saw. Keep an eye on the line. There. And over here also. Stop and check there. And we have those 4 cuts made. Next thing we want to do is cut off the end waist, and then we'll cut off these middle pieces, these sections of waist. So to cut off our end waist, as usual, bench hook, set it up like so. Sections, and then all that's left to do is get rid of this, this, and this. Here and here we can use a tenon saw. Here we're going to use a coping saw. At the moment, we just use a tenon saw, put it in the vise for these cuts on the edges of the ends. There. last piece to get these dovetails shaped is the coping saw work. So get my coping saw, the blade, his teeth are going across the way here, so we'll bring it down like so and then turn and cut again. If I turn straight away it's going to snap, so let's cut and turn again. Check the line, stop and check the line, and that piece will pop out for us there, and we have the male part of the dovetail joint cut out at that point. Alright, so we have those cut out. We are now going to go on and cut this part of the joint. So we will first start off by making our vertical cuts, as always. It's always a good approach to take. We'll set the piece up in the vise like so. Camera up. My tenon saw, watch my lines and make my cuts. There. Stop and check the line. Vertical cuts made, and then get our bench up to the right. Hold it up like so, and make it. So there's the end waist cut off. It comes off in a few small pieces. The last thing to do then is to get these bits cut out with our coping saw to get those out. Alright. Into the vise. Like so. And the coping saw teeth at the moment are facing this way for me, so I'm going to bring it down like so. Cut and turn. Watch the line. That piece there comes out. Same here, cutting and turn. Watch the line. That piece there comes out. And that leaves us with the section required. And then we have dovetail joint fits into place like so. So a nice snug fit to go into position like that.